Have you ever walked away from an argument feeling just completely confused, even when you knew for an absolute fact that you were right? You know that feeling, right? You start second-guessing yourself, wondering if you missed something, or if maybe, just maybe, you're the one who actually caused the problem. Well, that lingering fog of self-doubt isn't always a simple misunderstanding. It's often a highly calculated symptom of something much, much deeper. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to expose the hidden mechanics of one of the absolute sneakiest forms of psychological manipulation out there, gaslighting. Our goal today isn't just to complain about bad behavior. We are going to decode the exact tactics people use to distort reality. And more importantly, we're going to build up your logical defenses. By the end of this, you will have the psychological toolkit to spot these tactics way before they ever take root. Here's our roadmap for today. First, the invisible threat. Second, what is gaslighting? Third, the manipulator's playbook. And finally, your psychological armor. Okay, let's dive right into part one, the invisible threat, and how to recognize those really subtle signs. This thing sneaks in so subtly you honestly rarely notice it at first. When you get that intense, spinning confusion after an interaction, your brain naturally tries to rationalize it. You think, oh, we just aren't communicating well. But internalize this fact for me. It is not a misunderstanding. It is deliberate manipulation. That confusion you're experiencing is a powerful tactic designed specifically to weaken your confidence and cloud your judgment. It essentially paves the way for someone else to step in and define reality for you. Moving on to part two. What exactly is gaslighting? It's all about the pattern of control. So here's the formal definition we're working with today. Gaslighting is psychological manipulation designed to make someone question their memory, their emotions, perception, or even their sanity. Notice how totally different that is from a normal disagreement. A disagreement is just a clash of opinions, but gaslighting, that is a calculated pattern of control. Over time, as this manipulative person twists the facts or makes you feel literally crazy for being upset, they create this intense emotional dependence. You stop trusting your own gut, and you start relying entirely on their version of reality. And please, don't fall into the trap of thinking this only happens in toxic romantic relationships. It is a completely universal dynamic. It can infect friendships, families, and yes, definitely corporate workplaces. You know, like that boss who constantly changes the project requirements and then claims you just weren't listening. Anywhere there's a power dynamic or an emotional bond, there's the potential for this kind of subtle psychological control to take hold. All right, let's get into the clinical breakdown in part three, the manipulator's playbook. We're going to look at 4 very common tricks. Trick number 1, you're overreacting. Now, on the surface, this just sounds like a casual observation, doesn't it? But in reality, it completely minimizes your emotions. Think about it. You tell someone they hurt your feelings, and instead of addressing what they actually did, they attack your reaction to it. The goal here is brutally simple. Make you feel so emotionally irrational that you just stop speaking up entirely. And this brilliantly illustrates the core difference between a healthy dynamic and a truly toxic one. A healthy person, they'll try to understand your feelings, even if they completely disagree with you. They might disagree with your premise, sure, but they won't invalidate your right to actually feel it. A manipulator, on the other hand, will immediately try to discredit your feelings. They make your emotions the problem, completely taking the spotlight off their own behavior. Then we have trick number 2, which is just the flat-out denial of reality. That never happened. They will drop this line even when you clearly, vividly remember the conversation. And honestly, this tactic is a direct strike at your cognitive foundation. It breeds profound self-doubt and confusion. If someone looks you dead in the eye and denies reality often enough, your brain naturally starts questioning its own memory. And the exact second you doubt your own memory, the manipulator has won. Trick number 3 is blame shifting. So imagine you confront someone about a hurtful behavior. Within 2 minutes, somehow, some way, the entire conversation flips, and suddenly, it's your fault. You're the one on trial. You find yourself frantically defending your own character instead of actually discussing the original issue you brought up. It's a brilliant, albeit super dark tactic to avoid accountability. They basically throw a smoke bomb right into the middle of the conversation so you completely lose sight of what you were even asking for. And that leads us right into trick number 4, which is honestly perhaps the most twisted of the bunch: fake victimhood. Some manipulators will flip the situation so completely that the exact moment they're confronted, they act totally wounded, misunderstood, or fragile. This is engineered to create immediate guilt and pressure in you.
I mean, you walk into the room to address how they hurt you, and you walk out comforting them. That emotional reversal, that is a massive blinking red flag. Let's shift gears to part 4 and see how this all builds up your psychological armor so you can defend your mind. The source material lays out a fantastic 4-step survival guide to help defend your reality. First, trust patterns. Second, stay calm under pressure. Third, strengthen your boundaries. And fourth, maintain your independent thinking. Let's break these down step by step. Step 1. You absolutely must be able to distinguish between a one-time human error and a deliberate, toxic cycle. I mean, anyone can say the wrong thing once, right? That's just being human. But a manipulative pattern, that leaves a very specific emotional footprint. Constant confusion, completely drained energy, and unquestioned guilt. You have to keep track of patterns, not just the words they say. Manipulation only survives when you ignore the repetition. Step 2 is probably the hardest to execute in the moment. Calmness is your literal psychological armor. Manipulators desperately want an emotional reaction from you, so they can just point a finger and say, "See, you're acting crazy." High emotion weakens your logical thinking. So your absolute best defense is to pause, ask direct questions, and stick exclusively to the cold, hard facts. Do not give them that emotional outburst they need to validate their twisted narrative. Step 3 is all about boundaries. And remember this, the people who fear your boundaries are almost always the ones benefiting from your lack of them. When you set a boundary with a gaslighter, they're going to demand an explanation, totally hoping to drag you right back into an argument where they can twist your words around. But remember, no is a complete sentence. You do not need to endlessly justify your need for peace to someone who is absolutely committed to misunderstanding you.
And finally, step 4, maintain your independence. Look, manipulation becomes incredibly strong when your entire emotional state depends on one single person's approval. You have to anchor your identity completely outside of that relationship. Stay fiercely connected to your personal goals, your outside hobbies, your trusted friendships, and your fundamental self-respect. A person with a strong, multifaceted identity, they are incredibly difficult to isolate and control. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, from those invisible signs to the dirty tactics, and finally to building your psychological armor. But I want to leave you with this one vital, provocative question to ask yourself whenever you feel that weird fog of confusion rolling in. Whose reality are you living in? Because true confidence isn't about controlling other people. It's about relentlessly protecting your own mind, your emotions, and your self-respect. I really hope this explainer has given you the tools to do exactly that. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure you stay connected for more deep dives into psychology and self-improvement. Until next time, protect your peace and always trust your reality.